Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and to another House of the Dragon reaction. Okay, so we are about to start episode 8. There are only 3 episodes left of this first season, and so I highly anticipate some major things going down tonight. I feel like I say that every week, but every week it pretty much is the case. But I'm really excited for what's gonna potentially happen tonight and what we're gonna see in the aftermath of it. So I'm not gonna take too much time at the beginning here to really kind of get into it. If you want to hear my previous thoughts, you can watch my previous reactions. Just quickly want to say, if you are interested in full-length reactions or also exclusive content that can only be watched on Patreon, please do check out my Patreon. The link is below in the description. Like I said, you can get full-length reactions to House of the Dragon. You can get exclusive content like Rings of Power reactions, among other things. So do check it out if you want to support the channel in any way. It really is very, very helpful. I know the whole thing that everybody says. So...
Planted by the pups of House Strong. Driftmark is mine by all rights. And while I should like your support, I do not need it. The winds have shifted.
Yeah, it's rough.
The crowd
It's
has
rough here.
good reason to take my side.
My cousin the king would have your tongue for this.
But it's not a king who sits the Iron Throne these days, good sister. It's a queen.
This is rough because that's even, those are the things that Rhaenys was saying to Corlys herself before, although she proposed Baela, obviously not his brother. Off we go.
Those vipers rule in my father's name. And my father... What choice do I have?
To King's Landing, then.
Improved customs duties since the settling of the stepstones, and the extent to which we exploit those is contingent on the harbour master's receipts, of which
Look at her.
the,
She's trying to be all holy now, redecorating a bit.
Bust they wish to commission for the festival of the mother, which I would not recommend.
Thank you.
Oh, jeez. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Daemon, you really ought to go into. Your brother clearly does not. Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus.
My king. Rhaenyra. I'm here with Damon.
Damon. Help me up.
Oh, Jesus, look at him. Oh, my God. He looks like he's 90 years old.
It's been so long.
Oh, jeez. He can't stand to look at him.
The sea snake has taken a grave wound in
Look
back
at
to
him.
the stepstones.
When? You won that 4 years ago.
No. All is Valarian's successor.
Something happened to Lord Corlys.
Oh,
Father,
God. It's just...
there's someone we wish to introduce you to.
David can barely... He looks like he's gonna cry.
Him. I asked him to stop. Your Grace, he did. Truly. You must believe me.
You might think you were trying to besmirch the prince, or worse.
Alicent!
The sort of girl that might have enticed him
I
in
mean,
the
of
first
course
place.
this is what she's going... Oh my god. Of course
You
this
know
is
what
what she's
happens to
going to
girls like
do.
that.
To try to protect her rapist son, but...
I wasn't dreaming or anything. Another word to anyone. Your Grace. It's right out of my life.
Harmless fun.
Upset about it.
Think of the shame on your wife. On me. How can you keep carrying on like this, especially on a day like today?
Why? What is it today?
Whoop. He deserves more than that.
You are no son of mine.
Woo!
I did not ask for this. I've done everything you've asked me to. And I try so hard, but it will never be enough for you or Father.
The condition has worsened since you saw him last. It subjects him to considerable pain on the advice of the maesters.
The maesters, of course. It is they who keep him addled on milk.
An act of the purest mercy, but tell me, for the king's suffering, did the maesters also prescribe the removal of Targaryen heraldry and the installation in its stead of various statues and stars?
The emblems of the Seven serve only to guide us on an uncertain path, to remind us of a higher authority.
And on the morrow, which authority will sit in judgment of my son's claim on his own inheritance?
That would be mine. And the hands. But be assured the father is just and commands me to forget the accusations you have held in this room today.
Smaller than I remember. It looks exactly the same. Oh, Luke, come on.
Man, Alicent. But I have to say, that was pretty sick right there, because we got to watch... That wasn't just Rhaenyra versus Alicent. Rhaenyra with Daemon backing her up and agreeing with her and everything is that's a whole different situation. It's not like it was before at all.
And you thought you could swing Kristoff's Morning Star.
Back Luke's claim, and let us betroth Laena's children to mine. Baela will be queen of the Seven Kingdoms, and her sons will be heirs to the throne. Rhaena will rule in Driftmark, and the seat will pass to her and Viserys.
The smartest thing. Smartest thing to do.
Or a desperate one.
What does it matter?
You're right in this, at least.
By naming me heir, you divided the realm. I thought I wanted it.
Look at him! Oh my god, you hear his lungs?
Just to raise us up.
Oh my god.
My queen, my lord Hand. This is a matter of blood, not ambition. I place the continuation of the survival of my house and my line above all. I humbly put myself before you as my brother's successor. The Lord of Driftmark and Lord of the Tides. Thank you, Sir Vaemond.
Princess Rhaenyra.
I am to grace this fast with some answer. I will start by reminding the court that nearly 20 years ago in this very...
King Viserys of House Targaryen.
He
The first of his name.
This is the biggest thing he's ever done.
I said I'm fine.
As a matter of fact, the Princess Rhaenyra has just informed me of her desire to marry her son, Percy and Luke, to Lord Corlys's granddaughters, Baela and Rhaena. A proposal to which I heartily agree.
Well, the matter settled. Again.
Oh my god, Egg.
I hereby reaffirm Prince Viserys of House Velaryon is heir to Driftmark, the Driftwood throne, and the next Lord of the Time.
Enough.
Viserys is my true-born grandson. And you, no more than the second son of Driftmark.
You may run your house as you see fit, but you will not decide the future of mine.
Yes, he will. He's the king.
My house survived the doom, and her children are bastards! And she is
Oh.
a whore.
Will have your tongue for that.
He can keep his tongue.
Disarm him!
Many.
Call the maesters!
David!
Please, my lord.
I wish you to see me as I am. Not just a king, but your father, your brother, your husband, and your grandsire, who may not, it seems, walk for much longer among you.
I wish to raise my cup to Her Grace the Queen. I love my father, but I must admit that no one has stood more loyally by his side than his good wife. She has tended to him with unfailing devotion, love, and honor. And for that, she has my gratitude. And my apology.
I think she meant it.
Your graciousness moves me deeply, Princess. We have more in common than we sometimes allow. I raise my cup to you and to your house. You will make a fine queen.
It's like, this is what he always wanted, like his whole... And it's not all genuine, but it looks it, and it's just all the only thing he's wanted.
To these three
strong boys.
I dare you to say that again.
Why? It was only a compliment. Do you not think yourself strong?
Why would you say such a thing before these people?
I was merely expressing how proud I am of my family, Mother. Though it seems my nephews aren't quite as proud of theirs.
Wait!
Oh.
Go to your quarters. All of you go.
Oh,
now.
God. Here we go. There's the beginning of... yeah. Aemond's like, alright, there's somebody that actually would be a challenge to me.
Rhaenyra.
It's best, I think, if we go back to Dragonstone.
You've only just arrived.
Return on Dragonback.
The king and I would both like that.
Oh, God. This is such a tragedy right now, too, because I think if they just had the opportunity to sit and talk together before anything else happened, things would be different, but...
The prince that was promised.
I don't understand this house.
The prince.
Prince Aegon.
To unite the realm against the cold, the dark. It is you.
He thinks he's talking to
You are the
Rhaenyra.
one. My love.
Well, that was the end of episode 8, and Viserys is gone. He has held out as long as he possibly could. There's a lot of things that I feel like it would be good to talk about, but I'm also feeling pretty emotional after this episode. And also, it's just tragic. It's tragic. What just happened at the end here? Okay, he was thinking back to when Rhaenyra was at his bedside asking him about the Song of Ice and Fire and whether he believed it was true. And he said he thinks Rhaenyra was the prince that was promised. But of course, Alicent has no idea what he's talking about. She just hears him saying Aegon and the prince that was promised, and so she's thinking that he's saying, or especially because it plays into what she's been thinking or wanted to think for years anyway, that he should be king. And now he's gonna die, and she's gonna see that as his deathbed wish. And say it was his deathbed wish. Of course. Because it's easy if you want to believe something, to hear something that is vague and confusing and to put your own interpretation on it and to actually, so I think she's going to genuinely believe it, even though, more because she allows herself or convinces herself to believe it. And the tragedy of it is that I do believe when she asked Rhaenyra to stay and that she wanted her to come back, that she meant it. And that in that moment, when she was toasting and she said to her that you would make a fine queen, and that in the moments after that, she was allowing herself to have some regret and some thought about maybe things don't have to go this way. Maybe, and I feel like the whole episode, you really see glimpses of Alicent's uncertainty, and a lot of that having to do with the impact that she sees on all of those around her. And more than that, also, you know, what she sees her son capable of. So even when she's in conversation with her father and Vaymond, she was basically saying, I'm not sure now that this has happened. I'm not sure. Like, she wasn't like sure even after everything if she wanted to go through the process of basically officially stating that Rhaenyra's children are bastards because of the consequences that would come from that to Rhaenyra and her kids. She, like, you know, once it was on the verge of actually happening, she wasn't sure if she really wanted or felt like she could do it, especially after hearing that her son, who she was going to put on the throne, raped a little girl and didn't give a shit about it and was just like nonchalant and treats her daughter, who she married off to him, like absolute shit. Like, she straight up slapped him and said, "You're no son of mine." She's disgusted by him at this point in time. And she's feeling a great deal of uncertainty. And then you have her husband, who, despite the fact that she didn't marry him out of love, and that I'm sure she's had times where she's absolutely hated her life and that she hasn't wanted to be with him and that she's wished for other things, she does have love for him. She has been his caretaker all these years. And for her, you could see the look on her face when she was watching him come into the throne room. The look on Otto's face was just one of, oh shit, fuck me, and Vaymond's face. But Alicent's was a mixture of that, and you could see also sorrow, because she realizes in that moment what Viserys, what pain he's willing to go through to protect Rhaenyra and her children and her claim, and that makes Alicent feel badly and think about this, because this is clearly what her husband wants, what the king wants, and she does care for him, and if he's willing to like go through all of this immense suffering to protect her, that means something. And then that carries over into the dinner and the conversations too, and the speech that he's giving there. And then of course there's also the fear element, because look what happened. Even in his weakened state, when Vaymond tries to call the children bastards, he stands up and, well, he asks for his tongue, not for his death, but doesn't give a shit when he gets killed, obviously. And she sees that Daemon won't hesitate. He tried to goad Vaymond. Daemon tried to goad Vaymond into saying it. When he did, he just sliced his head right in half. And she also had the conversation with Rhaenyra and Daemon, where it's very different than having a conversation, like I said, with just Rhaenyra. She's a much stronger foe with him as her husband. So this combination of like her weariness with everything, her disgust at her son, her uncertainty whether what she's doing is actually right, her regret, her actually feeling like maybe things could work out if we, you know, thought about the past, thought about the good sides of each other, and then the fear element all comes together to put her in a place where I 100% believe if Viserys hadn't just died that night, and Rhaenyra stayed, and Rhaenyra and Alicent could sit down together without Daemon, or even without Viserys, without Otto, without Criston Cole, without anybody whispering in their ears about what they should do or shouldn't do. Just the two of them sat down together and were perfectly honest with each other about their motivations, about what they're afraid of and what they feel and why they're doing what they're doing, which ultimately for both of them a lot comes just down to their children. I think it could have come to a place where a war would not have to happen, because all of this comes down to misunderstandings between each other, hurt feelings, and fear of what will happen if the other one is in charge, fear of what will happen to their children. If they could come to a place where they could trust each other again and understand whatever happens, I do not want to hurt your children, then that could alleviate a lot of this. But of course, the tragedy of it is that Rhaenyra leaves and Viserys dies right there, and his last words to Alicent are going to make her think, all right, well, all my uncertainty, all my feelings about it, it doesn't matter, because at the end, he says he wants Aegon on the throne, so I got to do what I got to do. And that'll let her fall back into her old belief patterns, because she'd been so reliant on them for so many years now, and rely her to fall back on her father. And oh, but that's what it makes it so much more in depth to it as a tragedy than just, you know, a story of political infighting between these two factions to see who will come out on top. It's much more heartbreaking than that because of the actual feelings behind it. And the same for Rhaenyra, because of course she's doing this. There's a part of her that it's a political element, of course, but you can even see when she's there with Viserys, she's not sure if she wants the Iron Throne or if she cares or if it's worth everything that she's going through. When she had that conversation with Rhaenys, the ideas that people have of them. But ultimately, for her now at this point too, it has to come down to she can't give this up because of the fear of what will happen to her children. She can't allow her children to be named bastards, and there would be no other legitimate reason for her to give that up. And on top of that, she has the pressure of the Song of Ice and Fire idea in her head and the belief that her father has passed to her that she has to do this. And also her knowledge now of how much her father did want her on the throne, because of what he was willing to do for her in like his final moments. And so despite the fact that I genuinely believe also the things that she said about Alicent there in that moment, because she's looking at Alicent looking at her father too, and she could see the actual concern. That ultimately they're both going to be cemented in their positions to a large degree because of their fear of their children and because they didn't have a chance to have an honest conversation to come to understand one another. And it's depressing. But this episode, oh man, there were so many things. There were so many things in this episode, but this episode belonged to Viserys. It was horrifying and heartbreaking to see him the way that he was, what he had been reduced to. The pain that, like, oh my God. And that first scene when Rhaenyra and Daemon come in and he's like drugged out and in tons of pain and he's having trouble even like recognizing them. It was hard, especially watching Daemon look at him and try to talk to him, and you could see it was like Daemon was trying to not cry because of how upset he was seeing what his brother's condition, the state that he's in. And you can really see the love that all of these different people have for each other. And but the moment of Viserys walking into the throne room, the fact that through all that pain, he heard Rhaenyra's plea to him and her fear, and he had that amount of love for her that he refused the drugs. And he pushed himself to walk that, not just go there, but walk the throne room up to the throne, only accepting help from Daemon, the only one, and to make sure that she was safe and at least do what he could to make sure that she was safe, her and her children. That, I feel like that's going to be so far that's the highlight of the series, and I feel like there's a good chance it could end up being that. The man did a fantastic job. Viserys was a weak and indecisive king, and a lot of his choices are what's going to lead to what we all know now, I think, is coming. But Paddy Considine did an amazing job, and I felt for him this episode. I felt for him and everybody else. Yeah. And now just chaos to come, because as we could see, even though Rhaenyra and Alicent got to the point that they did at the dinner, despite that, we saw immediately after Viserys left. That's not where the kids are, though. We know it's also not where Daemon and Otto are, but that's definitely not where the kids are. So it's not as easy as they would want it to be anymore. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I thought this was another amazing episode. Extremely well acted from everybody. Heartbreaking. Oh, just one last thing. One last thing. So when Corlys comes back, because this whole chaos this episode was predicated on the idea that they're concerned that Corlys might die and not come back. And Corlys is coming back. So when Corlys comes back, I'm really curious, because he's been gone for years, out in the same area where his son is. Maybe he saw Rhaenyra, and maybe he knows that he's still alive, because that would definitely be interesting, but we'll see. All right, like I said, time to wrap this up. I want to hear you guys' thoughts as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!